Hey, God bless you, everybody. I'm not going to be before you too long. I just want to quickly come on here. It might be quick. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to come on here and just let you know what the Lord showed me last night. I know it's been a while, but I'm back. So without further ado, let's just get into the dream. So what I saw was, I was in a dream and I was at a grocery store and I saw a person who is a twin. I saw them. They were also shopping as well, and they had on a black fur coat. It was like a kind of like a shawl, though. It wasn't really like a coat, but it was like a black. It was a fur, and I was thinking to myself, okay, wow, she's really dressed nice to be at a grocery store. And I looked at myself and I'm like, I'm just in regular street clothes. So you know, I move on from her. I don't see her. And then I go to a spot where they're selling red cabbages. So like in a produce section. So I went for one of them and I touched it and I was like, oh, this one's old, feel kind of slimy. And then I go to the other cabbage. I go to it. There was only two, so I went to the other cabbage and I was like, okay, this one's nice. And so I grabbed that one, put it in my cart, and then I had did other grocery shopping. I don't know what else I had bought, or was buying, but I had put other things in my cart, and I was like, okay, good, I'm finally done. Let me go get in the line. So, y'all, when I tell you, I looked at the line, and the line was so long. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just want to get out of here. But I felt compelled. I felt like no matter how long that line was, I had to be in it and get my groceries. So I was in the line and I stayed in the line or whatever. And I looked further up the line and I saw the twin who was dressed in the mink. I saw her. Well, I'm assuming it's mink. I don't know. That's all what I always think about. But she was dressed in the fur coat, but she was further up the line. I was like, darn it, I should have got here earlier. I should have got here earlier or got done shopping earlier so that I could be further up in the line. And that was the end of the dream. So I began to ask the Holy Spirit what the dream means. And the dream got revealed to me. And so, and then I also got a scripture that goes with the dream. So what happened was, anytime you see a grocery store or like a shopping area or whatever, that has to do with the economy or part of the economy or something having to do with, I don't know, supply and demand, having to do with that sort of thing. And so I'm not going to say any time, but most of the time. So I'm like, God, what does this mean? And what it means is that when you go to the grocery store, and I don't know exactly when, I'm assuming summer, but when you go to the grocery store, what you're going to find is that your produce, the things that are on the perimeter of the grocery store, so like things that get trucked in or things that come in fresh or supposed to come in fresh, they're going to be older, meaning they're going to be not as fresh. They're going to be sort of past their expiration date, maybe edible, but not ideal, not at the peak of their freshness. And there's not going to be a lot of selection, is what I'm seeing in the dream, is that there won't be a lot of selection. And so in the dream, I'm like, man, if I could, I would leave, but I have no choice but to be in this long line. it's going to be like if you're there and you get some good produce or whatever, or maybe it might even be meat, or maybe it might even be dairy products, but what I saw in the dream was produce. If you're there and you get the good produce, you can't just say, man, I'm leaving this grocery cart, I'll come back later, because the line is too long. There's going to be a sense of urgency that, if you leave, it may not be there when you get back, when you come back. So that's what I'm seeing in the dream. Also, the twin in the dream, there's two different things about her. So one is, it reminds me of, because when you see a twin, you think of, it's usually mean double, like double portion, double blessing, that type of thing. Like things growing or fertility, that sort of thing, just blessing upon blessing. But I only saw one. And what came to my mind, what came to my remembrance, was the story of Joseph, when the Pharaoh, he had a dream, and the dreams were like exactly alike. You might as well say they were twin dreams, except for one was about plentifulness, plenty, and one was about scarceness. And so to me, only seeing the one twin meant that one season has passed and now we're in another season, or either we're about to be in another season or we are in the season of scarcity. So it depends on who you ask. Some people right now are saying everything is kind of scarce right now. Some people haven't felt anything yet. And some people, unfortunately, maybe feeling the pinch soon. So, but also the twin, when she was further up in the line than I was, what that represented, and the fact that she had on like the fur coat, what that represented was that she was more financially well off than me or than others. And so, yeah, it affects her, this, financial scarcity or whatever you want to call it. It affects her, but it's more of an annoyance. Like, so she can take the hit a little bit, she can absorb some of the shock to the wallet. Whereas people who live check to check, it's not going to, they're not going to be able to absorb it. It's going to be a little bit more painful for them, So the higher you are up on the social economic ladder, the less it's going to affect you. Okay. Whereas, and this is with, anything, it's annoying for them, but it doesn't affect them as much. Eventually, if things keep going, it will go up to them, and it will go up to a certain level. Whereas the ultra rich, it really ain't gonna bother them. They probably don't even know how much, eggs cost or whatever. So, now God is a merciful God, a loving God, and the only reason He's showing me is for you to prepare. Now, God has been showing me for years and years and years and years, for the showing me to prepare during the season of plenty. But I know I can hear some of y'all saying, and I can hear myself saying, but God, I don't have it to even store up for the years of scarcity. I don't have it during, you know what I mean? What could I do? So, but there are still things that you could do now. Everybody, there's this big thing now. There's a return back to, people are returning back to growing, having having a little garden, that sort of thing. Start doing that if you haven't. We're in springtime. At the time of this recording, it's spring. start planting. If you have a little piece of land, start planting. Start a little garden. If you don't have a piece of land, start putting some stuff in some pots, you know, and start growing your own produce. All that other stuff that's in the grocery stores, they'll probably have loads and loads of it. What I mean by other stuff, they'll probably have loads and loads of all that prepackaged, preservative filled, toxin filled stuff. So, but the things that grow from the ground, those things seem like, from what I'm seeing in the dream, is going to be scarce. It's going to be scarce. And they already do tricks and things to keep things, quote unquote, fresher than longer. They already, gas the tomatoes with some type of gas to make them red when they're really green, so they last longer on the shelf. Like, they're already doing stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if they start coming out with these different tips, with these different tricks to make things seem like they're fresh and when they're not. So also, I wanted to say that I believe the long lines have to do with these stores are going to be losing money, so they're going to have to start laying off people, and then there's going to be longer lines in the grocery store. So also, before I forget, another reason that there might be longer lines is, remember during the pandemic where there was a run on the grocery stores? I know there's a saying called like the run on banks, but instead of run on the banks, there would be like a run on the grocery stores. Oh my, we're not going to have XYZ, so let's go and rush and go buy this item. Like during the pandemic, it was toilet paper. You couldn't find a piece of toilet paper to, wipe your behind because everybody bought all the toilet paper. So, but this one is going to be different. Like, there'll be plenty of toilet paper, but people are going to be running to get produce. And the problem with produce, as in the dream, it don't keep. There's not preservatives. It don't keep for long. So you could go and grab a whole bunch of stuff, but ultimately, unless you preserve it, or you know how to can, or you know how to put stuff in, or you freeze it, that sort of thing, then there's really no way to preserve it. And so, but then that, I can go into another rabbit hole about, preservatives and stuff like that, but I'm not going to do that because that's not what this video is about. So my recommendation to you and to myself is it's like I said, it's spring. Get some seeds, start planting, and then when you harvest, start preserving. All right, guys, God bless you. I love you. And until we meet again.